Tabashi Abnell stared at the body, its skin cold, ashen, and stippled by ant bites, the face all but destroyed. It didn't take a genius to figure out it had been there a while, especially since both eyes were nothing but empty sockets. Did you notify the authorities? Not yet. We just found it. It was definitely a crippling situation no archaeological dig wanted or needed. The amount of downtime and damage to reputation could be catastrophic, considering potential circumstances. But if it turned out some poor sot took a wrong turn, the story would garner only a second or two on local news. Maybe. If it turned out otherwise, something he couldn't risk by being negligent. Call the authorities, he ordered as he took a final look at the body. They'll want to speak with you. I know, but I have nothing to say to interest them. 2 weeks passed since the neighbor kid was grounded for trashing his mom's flowers, and when choosing where to land, there was one thing of which Colbie was certain. No snow. Ice. Temperatures below 60. As beautiful as Geneva and Seattle were, it was time to experience something completely different. A place where she could set course for the next years of her life without the frenetic life of the city. So, when she found the perfect little rental close to the Calakmul Biosphere Reserve in Mexico, she couldn't resist. Little more than one room and somewhat primitive, she was pleased she had funds to rent something a bit more upscale, but not by much. Mosquito netting surrounded the bed, and there were amenities such as electricity and water, but that was about it. Still, to her, it was exactly what she needed, and it wasn't far to the Biosphere Reserve. So, when the need for a restaurant hit, doable. Besides, it was only for a month or two, and then it would be back to Seattle to figure out what she wanted to make of her life over the age of 40. Weekly trips to the Calakmul Biosphere Reserve kept her in everything she needed, plus offering the opportunity to catch up on news and check her emails. Still, the internet was spotty at best, and she didn't like the feeling of being out of touch. At least, not all the time. There was a part of her wanting to be in the know, and it was on her second trip to the reserve she learned of a body found at the archaeological dig near the Great Pyramid. Turned out it wasn't some poor sot, after all. She listened as a young reporter for a Mexico City television station recounted how and when the body was found, with no supposition of what happened. Fortunately, she knew enough Spanish to get by, and so far there was no language barrier. As she continued to listen, however, she realized she had much to learn. A well-known United States archaeologist, Professor Richard Sanderson, was found dead at the Calakmul Great Pyramid. Supervising a nearby dig for several years, the professor was involved in directing several excavations within the ruins. Authorities are investigating. That was it. It would be foolish to think such a tidbit didn't pique Colbie's interest. It did. I was planning to explore tomorrow, she thought as she checked her cell for messages. Maybe it's time I check out Calakmul. And that was all it took. She put aside what she knew was best, at least for a while, to chase a story that didn't concern her. Although used to the damp of Seattle, it was nothing like the cloaking humidity of the Mexican jungle. Howler monkeys sounded off as Colbie ventured away from the main Mayan pyramid to a spot she could sit, relax, and people watch. Always one of her favorite pastimes, she enjoyed being inconspicuous as she noted body language of those walking by, not noticing she was paying attention. Water in hand, she chose a bench on the far southwest side of the pyramid, cooling her face with it as she sat. A man, probably in his late 30s, stood, offering an obligatory hello before spotting something more interesting than she. Watching, she noticed a slight limp in his left leg as he halted abruptly, a woman walking in front of him without a glance. Perhaps he's on his own mission of self-discovery, Colbie thought, curiously tracking his movements as he disappeared into the group of visitors. Once out of sight, a weak electrical twinge coursed through her, the familiar tingle of intuition. Closing her eyes, she tried to tune in, but there were too many people to be specific. She watched as her mind's eye ramped up a movie, one she was clearly meant to view, and within moments, symbols began circling. A small statue, blue paint, a pond, then a whisper. You stand at the platform of the kingdom of the snake. Quietly, she waited, hoping for more. Nothing. Opening her eyes, she scanned the area to see if anyone were near, close enough for her to hear a whisper. No one. Colbie? Colbie Colleen? She turned toward the voice, stunned. Anyone knew her name.